I met with this lady, Alison Korn, a number of years ago. She's an Olympic rower. I don't know if you remember the race. I do forget the year. They ended up coming in second. But we were doing some work at Microsoft, and I said to her, I said, so what does it feel like to be in the Olympics going for the gold? And she says, I got to tell you, it's amazing. Here's something we practiced for years and years and years, right? And we couldn't find the energy. We couldn't find the passion until we saw the finish line. And when we saw that finish line and we knew clearly in 500 meters, if we didn't figure out what we were doing, the race was over and our hope for gold would never be there. She said, we found energy and passion. We came in second and we were very, very close to winning the gold. See, most of us need a finish line. We need to have that set time. People who watch hockey, why is it that team that's losing always dominates the last 5 minutes? Because they're very clear. If they don't figure out how to get that puck in the net, their game's over. Why didn't they figure it out for the first 55 minutes? Because they didn't have the finish line yet. So I want you to think about that. When you have a vision, you have to have two things. You've got to have the compelling purpose of where you're going. But stop and take a look and say, what could I become if I don't get this? Now, one of the things I do want you to think about in this whole what's changed realm is this fight for human attention. I know folks are sending out messages saying that this is the way we need to work with our planet, to clean it up. And they're sending out this stuff and they're, need to read. Am I the only one who hates going to their mailbox now? Am I the only one that doesn't give full attention to the stuff I get there? Am I the only one who ignores most of the emails that come in? Am I the only one that has call display so I can figure out who I want to talk to? Right? My wife's still getting a hold of me. All right. But I want you to think about that because we consistently still do the same thing, don't we? We still send out letters. We still send out messages. We still make some phone calls. Right? I'm not sure that they're getting through. So we have to think about that fight for human attention and what can we do that's compelling enough to get the time we need in order to get our message across. I'm going to go on a similar angle to this and say, what is your competitor's strength and how can you make it their weakness? So many times we think about things and we say, man, we could never beat Microsoft. They are just too huge, too strong, too powerful. Well, if you're two of anything, there's a weak spot to you. All right? Because you can't be the opposite. You can't be the smallest. You can't be the cheapest. You can't be the weakest because Microsoft is already too large on that side. Let me give you a couple of examples. Avis. All right? They could never catch up with Hertz. Hertz was just too dominant as the number one car rental place. So what did they do? They made it a crime to be number one. They said, we're number two, we try harder. Right? What about Pepsi? Pepsi didn't have 100 years of cola tradition, did they? So what did they do? They came in and said, we're the choice of a new generation.